Well, this is the greatest generation of all time. If I would just have to compare these education systems and all these things from our past, but still there are so many things that we have to develop in this century, and I think that's very much important thing. Of course, we made a great and drastic changes, and we had a really great changes. Over the centuries, we are able to develop the scientists and all the scientific things. And we also became able to really help the people to live in a better way, like being so smart enough to really accumulate wealth and health and all these things. And we have great knowledge about health and also about the wealth. And this present generation is we can say this generation as one of the smartest generation of all time. But still, when we look from the inside, it looks opposite. Of course, from the outside, looking all this attainment and the things that we have made, that shows us we are really doing great. But if we really look inward, or if we really try to see within the individuals or all the people around the world, or if we look at ourselves, we find that we are not the smartest, because even we are able to achieve all these outer and material things in a really great way, but it seems there is something lacking. That is why we're not being able to enjoy all this accomplishment. And compared to the older generation, we should be much more happier, healthier, and much more, benefiting to each other, but benevolent to each other. But we're not. Now we're not being able to help each other in a great way, as well as we're not being able to live happily and gratefully for ourselves. That's so clear, That's so clear that we can see the depression level of today if you compare to the 1950s or something, And the researchers also shows that in the 1950s there are people who used to call as a psycho is now, or the average people have that kind of problem. So that's the greatest problem, I think. So even we have a greatest education right now about all the materialistic things, but what matters the most is always the internal education. If the internal things are in a trouble, then no matter how great achievements we acquire from the outside, that always gets less, and that cannot be enough to really make us happy and prosperous. So it is always important, to be able to feel the happiness from the inside rather than the outside and the materialistic things. Of course, the materialistic things are always important, and all these things are important, but we are trying to jump into it more than needed. That's why there are so many problems. Even we are so much educated from the outside, and maybe the greatest need of this generation is to make ourselves more educated from inside, and that's the very much important thing to keep us in balance.